Building this business from maintenance to construction has been a big hurdle. We started out doing maintenance, spraying, mowing, landscape maintenance. And then when we started getting into the construction side, I built this monster that the maintenance we just couldn't produce enough to keep the doors open. It was too big of a monster. So we had to do those bigger jobs. Going from what I knew on the maintenance side and pretty much scrapping it. And we were just doing so much construction. It was a big learning curve. And then to get the talent to grow that side has been very difficult. That's probably one of the biggest hurdles. And then my second would probably be scaling. We're trying to scale right now, and it's a big learning curve for me.
Yeah. Being able to do something well yourself in your business is a completely different animal than doing the exact same thing through other people. So I feel you. Welcome back to another episode of the Cost of Doing Business podcast. I am here with Alex Fransen live at the HNA Equip Expo 2024 in the SynkedUP booth at our cool little podcast table here. And Alex is local.
Yep. Great booth this year, by the way, man. This is awesome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is my favorite part, hanging out with you guys. Let's kick it off by introduce yourself. Tell us kind of what your business, yourself, how long you've been in the business, what your business looks like how many people, what services you do. Kind of give us a lay of the land.
Got it. So my name is Alex Fransen. I own Derby City Pools and Outdoor Living in Louisville, Kentucky. I've been in the industry about 28 years. Started when I was 13, mowing grass just like everyone else. Went to college for turf and horticulture. And when I moved back to Louisville, I worked for one of the nation's largest landscape companies, Red Trucks, everybody used to know them. Didn't like that so much, so then I went out on my own and started my own business again. So we've got on average 12 to 15 guys during the season. We are primarily pool, outdoor living, landscape. We like to do the pool and everything around it.
Yeah. Okay, and what about recurring maintenance?
We don't have a lot of recurring maintenance. That is something we are looking at building this winter into next year.
I think this is a question a lot of contractors have about pools. Like, how did you get into them? What did that journey or that story look like?
Okay, so we were going behind so many pool companies and doing the icing on the cake. And we just kept hearing the same bad stories from customers that were unhappy. Just all the things that you hear from the customers on the pool industry. You know, the money was gone by the time we got there. We're trying to correct incorrect elevations, tore up yards, just a bad situation. And so we're already walking into a not good, not great.
Not a great vibe.
Yeah, not a great vibe. So, you know, we said about 10 or 12 years ago, we said, why don't we just start putting the pools in ourselves? We're setting ourselves up because the pool is the foundation of the backyard. That's where the elevations start, and then we run from there. So we get to put the pool in, the foundation, and then we get to paint the Picasso. So our love and passion is really landscaping. So we get to do all the hardscape, the landscape. We get to really paint the rest of the picture. Yeah. And that's really what we love to do.
This is another thing I saw at Tussey. I'm curious if your experience was the same. Like, if you get the pool, you get the rest of the job.
Generally, yes.
Yeah, and so because we did the same thing at Tussey Landscaping for years, where we were just doing the icing on the cake.
Yep.
But so much of the time, they wanted to start with the pool, and if we didn't offer the pool, they went with the other guy, and the other guy got all the other stuff too.
Yeah.
And so you lost some opportunity there.
Yeah. And that's generally what happens, you know, and a lot of times there was a lot of promises made by the pool companies that never came true, and a lot of the money to do the entire project was already gone before we got there. So they didn't leave a whole lot for us to do a good job. Yeah. So that's really another reason why we just wanted to get in from the ground and really control the project.
What would you say your average ticket size is, like your job size?
I would say on average we're 180 to 200.
Okay, awesome. How many pools a year do you put in?
We're not putting the world on fire. Yeah. So we're doing 16, 18, 20 pools.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's humping. That is humping. I mean, that's really moving. I mean, and that takes a lot to do. We still, the minimal recurring revenues that we have are our openings and closings. Yeah. So at the beginning of the season, we're taking about a month and a half to open our pools.
Yep.
At the end of the year, we're doing a month and a half to close them.
Yep.
So we're really trying to scale some of the services so that we can continue building and then also capture that service basis.
Yes, that's a good model. That's another thing that Tussie found really worked is like, because, when I started there, Tussie was like doing no maintenance whatsoever. I mean, because we didn't like it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But what happened is we would sell these really high-end projects, and they were like, I want you to take care of it for me. So we did start getting back into it, but we under our terms. Like it was like, okay, every maintenance contract was built on a subscription basis. So we would figure out like, hey, the opening, the closing, their ongoing maintenance, whatever that amount was for the year, divided by 12, put on monthly auto payments, like a subscription.
Yeah.
And so it continues indefinitely. And that was really useful because we didn't have to go chasing renewals every spring.
That's right.
We didn't have to. It was just like it's just on autopilot. It's just going to happen. Yeah. And that's effective. Like that's my favorite way of doing maintenance.
And it's huge. It really is. A lot of the jobs that we do, we are building lifetime relationships with these customers. I mean, we got customers that are calling my foreman and saying, "Hey, we're having a birthday party for our kids. Bring everybody out. Bring your kids." The bad stigma, at least in this town, and I hear nationally, is the pool guys don't have a good rap because a lot of times they're over-promising, under-delivering, and then they're just making us all look bad. I'm not a pool contractor. I'm a landscape contractor, and I tell everybody that. So most of the time, our customers are saying, we don't want anyone else messing with our project. We want you all to come back and do this. We've got the relationship with you all.
That's the most important part.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit. What would you say is the most difficult challenge that you've ever overcome?
Building this business from maintenance to construction has been a big hurdle. We started out doing maintenance, spraying, mowing, landscape maintenance. And then when we started getting into the construction side, I built this monster that the maintenance we just couldn't produce enough to keep the doors open. It was too big of a monster, so we had to do those bigger jobs. So going from what I knew on the maintenance side and pretty much scrapping it. I mean, we literally scrapped it, and we were just doing so much construction. It was a big learning curve, and then to get the talent to grow that side has been very difficult. That's probably one of the biggest hurdles. And then my second would probably be scaling. We're trying to scale right now, and it's a big learning curve for me.
Yeah. Dude, scaling, being able to do something well yourself in your business is a completely different animal than doing the exact same thing through other people.
Yep.
So I feel you. What does scaling look like? Like from where you're at now to where your vision is for going? Like when you say scaling, what does that look like specifically?
So I used to think it was a revenue thing. I always thought, revenue was a cool thing to say. Everybody's throwing out these numbers. And then as I've joined a couple different peer groups, it's not about the revenue. It's about your gross and your net when you're talking about numbers. But bigger than that is growing a good culture and team. I mean, we have really struggled to get good guys that have the love and the passion that we have, my core group of guys have, to keep building this company. And we're not trying to, like I said, we're not trying to hit a revenue number. I'm just trying to build a couple more teams so that we can capture the additional work that is being thrown our way, because we're turning stuff down.
Really?
Yeah, we're turning so much down. It's kind of a kick to my gut.
Okay, well, I have a question. Like, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that are here at the show that are not turning down work. So what led you to the point where you're actually turning work down?
I just don't want to overcommit and under deliver.
Well, what I mean is, like, how are you getting that many leads?
Oh, most of them are from our current customers.
Word of mouth.
When we build a job, they're wanting us to come and do all the service maintenance after that.
Oh, that way.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. And you're turning that away because you don't have the engine to, I got you.
Yeah, we can't facilitate it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin relationships, So that's the big thing.
Yeah, better under promise, over deliver than, which is a hard thing to do as a business owner. We want to say yes to everything.
The opportunities are endless and they are there, but we want to do it right. We want to grow the right way. We want to grow quality. I'm not trying to do the volume thing.
Scaling I think it's the hardest thing for contractors, because like you start a business like this because you love doing the work, like you love what it is that you do. But then you realize, like, well, I'm a slave to my own business unless I can get other people to do it as well. Yep. And that's really hard. And are you a reader?
Yes.
Have you read E-Myth?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've read E-Myth.
Buy back your time.
Oh yeah. I do a lot of driving.
Yeah.
So Headway, I use a lot of Headway.
Oh really?
Yep. I do that.
That's cool. I've seen ads for that, but I've never used it.
It's a summary.
Yeah.
So it's a quick summary of those books. I also buy them all on Audible as well, and I'll if I'm on a longer drive, I'll listen to them all there.
That's what I do. I was listening to more of a personal one on the way down here to the show called The Anxious Generation, just talking about how technology is affecting kids.
Yeah.
So, pretty interesting, but that's not on the business topic. What would you say is the best advice that you've ever been given that you've actually put into practice and it's actually made a difference for you?
This is not a SynkedUP plug, but knowing your numbers. Because before I heard of SynkedUP, I was trying to find a new software, and I was working with my business coach, my peer group coach, and that was the big thing. Was he's constantly pushing us to make sure your P&L is right, make sure your chart of accounts was right, making sure all that was organized, so you understood what you were doing, your revenues, your revenue streams, just having everything organized enough that you could actually produce, good information, so that I know that we're doing the right things in the field and we can correct them quickly. A lot of guys wait until the end of the year to file their taxes and find out that there's a problem. There's nothing you can do at that point. So that was a big shock to me in the beginning, because I just thought, oh yeah, we're doing great. We're just working really hard and we're making money, and I didn't know if we were making money or not. And
check your bank account balance.
Yeah,
that's your barometer.
Yeah. And that can
be wrong for so many reasons.
Yes, that was a big shock. And that took 2 or 3 years to really get our chart of accounts the way that I could understand it, because a lot of accountants don't want to do it that way.
Yes, exactly. And the thing I want to highlight there about what you're saying is data should tell you a story. If you can't look at numbers and be like, okay, that helps me make a decision, then it's not working. The data should tell you a story. Every time you look at an account, at a report that your accountant sends you, you're like, I'll just check my bank account balance. If that's happening, you need to either have a conversation with your accountant or find a new one.
I tell a lot of people that there's a lot of friends in town that I'm always telling them, what are you using? Oh, I'm using the old QuickBooks. And I'm like, all right, well, at least you have something. And then I'm like, well, are you working with an accountant? And they're like, oh yeah, they file their taxes at the end of the year. I'm like, really? You're not.
That's filing your taxes, and that's not working with an accountant.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're using Cycle now, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right around the corner. So that's awesome.
They've been great.
I'm glad to hear that. They refer a lot of people to us, and we try to do the same for them. So it's a great partnership.
Oh yeah.
Like, it blows my mind how many people think they don't even need QuickBooks. Like, you go into these hardscape groups or whatever, or like we even talk to people, they come book a demo, they're like, oh, they think, which, yes, but we solve a different problem than prepping your numbers for taxes, right? And it's just like, so if you're listening to this and you don't have access to your own accounting software, that is like, drop your lunch and do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so important. Most commonly where it happens is where people are using, cheaper home service softwares that provide the payment processing. So they send the invoice and they handle the transfer, like the client pays the invoice and it puts the money in the bank account. Those are the people that think they don't need QuickBooks, and it's not a $30 a month worth saving.
It's a very small piece of the puzzle too. I mean, that's just that's one part of it. And even just using SynkedUP, you still need a QuickBooks or you need some type of accounting software. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because SynkedUP is not an accounting software. So I want to ask you, like, what were some hesitancies that you felt as you were in the before state of, say, not knowing your numbers, whatever, however you want to describe that? Like, what were some hesitancies or some mental hurdles you had to overcome? Time. Time was a big one.
Dude, contractors are the busiest people on the face of the earth.
Yes. As I was younger, I would just work. Wake up in the morning early, do some paperwork, go in the field, you work all day, and you come home and you're eating dinner at your desk as you're working still. And I realized probably 15 years ago that it's not sustainable. You can't keep doing that. Your relationships are going to struggle. Everything's going to struggle. So time was a big one. Another one was just getting the head trash out. So like, I'm in a couple different peer groups and just listening to all the other things the guys are doing, and they're just pumping in your head all the time. It's you want to do all these things, and then you realize there's just not enough time once again. So it's Time is a big one.
Yeah, it is. And like the default response when things aren't going well is just work harder.
Yeah.
I didn't make enough money on that job. I need to make payroll next week. Just work harder.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like when you're in crisis mode or survival mode, that is, I mean, the work needs to happen, but you can't shovel your way to profit. The good news is, and this is what's so, I guess, this is why it weighs so heavily on me, is because it is such an easy problem to solve. The battle is here.
Yep.
Like the solution is easy.
Oh yeah.
Like in an hour, like I did this out at the event in Oregon 2-3 weeks ago. In an hour, we took a guy from that state to like mind blown, new path, new direction. Like in an hour, it's such an easy problem to solve, technically speaking.
Yeah.
The variable is you.
Yeah.
That's the variable.
Oh yeah.
And so that, as a software company, I can't control that. You can't. It's like that is a decision or a hurdle that only you can overcome. And it happens at different places, different times for different people.
Yeah.
Goal in business owner thing is to get to that point as soon as possible.
Well, and it's sometimes it's hard to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You're stuck in that process. You're stuck in that state of mind.
Yeah.
And in our industry, just like you said, everybody's just such hardworking guys and girls.
Yeah.
I mean, that we just kill ourselves literally just working. But there's a better solution.
There is. I know it's cliche, but work smarter, not harder. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Like, keep working hard. You know.
Yeah.
So now that you are where you are today, and I know you and I have many conversations off the air of like the transformations you've experienced, which is awesome. This is why I do what I do. But what would you say has been the outcome of this journey for you, like going from before knowing your numbers to now after knowing your numbers? Like, how's that impacted you personally, professionally? What your business? What's it done?
Personally, it's bought back my time to spend with my wife, to spend with my family, to spend with my friends. I've had several friends and family say, "Hey man, where you been? Like, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I just work, man. I got work to do." And it's an excuse that I kept. When I say it's an excuse, because it was, that's what I would always. That was my go-to, because that's all I would do. And it was an excuse because I was not trying to find a solution to better myself.
Yeah.
And, I was stuck in the work harder situation.
Yeah.
So just buying back my time that I could spend with my wife and my friends and family, my dog, do the things I love to do was huge. Confidence in the business, knowing my numbers, knowing financially that we're not struggling, that we have money in the bank, we're putting money in the right places, we're investing in the right things, we're doing the financial confidence and peace that it has given me is huge. I mean, like, I would lose so much sleep on so many things that, it may be just one less thing, but that's one less thing that I lose sleep over, which I sleep a whole lot better now.
I like the word you use, peace.
Yeah.
There's something that feels like, I don't know, the feeling of when you take a messy room and you clean it up and it's like, just walk in here and feel relaxed.
Yep.
It's the same way with your numbers.
Exactly.
It's like when you go from checking my bank account balance to see how good I'm doing or not, which by the way will lie to you, to that experience of like, I know without a shadow of a doubt where I need to be on this job. When my customer pushes back on me, I'm like, well, I can get creative in helping you find ways to change the scope, but I'm not just going to change the price without changing the scope because I know the truth.
Yep.
Like there's just a that you feel when you're in that state.
And it's funny because I would never word it the way that you do. It's, we can do better, but we have to adjust your scope. Or, I would always just look at the numbers and not knowing 100%, just start cutting to get the job.
I'll take $1,000 off of this, $5,000 off of that. It's like, I know.
Knowing what I know now, I was cutting all my profit.
Yeah, it's 100%. That's the only thing you negotiate with when you do that. You only negotiate with your profit if you don't change scope.
Yeah. Some of these jobs, there's very tight margins.
Yes.
If you screw up once, you've lost some of that margin already. And then if you start cutting to get the job, we work very hard in this industry. We can all sit at home and not work hard and go broke.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do that than kill yourself and not make money. There's something to say for that.
If I'm going to kill myself and not make money, I'll go like elk hunting or something. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. You got to bring some horns back.
Yeah, I ate tag soup this year. Another thing I want to acknowledge about what you were saying is, which I think is something as business owners, we get so all consumed with our business and our work that we forget that when we sacrifice an evening to get quotes done, when we sacrifice a Saturday to get something done in the business, it's not only costing you, it's costing your family, and I would say even your team members, because Monday morning is tough to be your best self. You know, you start getting into a micromanaging mind state instead of a vision setting mindset, and I just want to acknowledge what you were saying about you don't just rob from yourself, you rob from the people around you when you're in that state.
Yeah, it's totally true. And I can see it. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because there are still nights that I'm trying to produce, estimates. I'm trying to get this stuff out.
Yes.
But I'll try to do my best to pick those evenings when my wife's either running or, I don't have a ton to do.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the software has shaved that time so much. I think I cranked out 7 estimates last night in about an hour and a half.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was, there's probably $500,000 and maybe a little more in estimates that I shot out. I mean, that is so huge. I mean, that would take days to do.
How much faster did SynkedUP make your estimating process from a percentage point?
In the beginning, it was cumbersome until I started utilizing the templates.
Production rates?
Yes.
Yes.
So job costing, production rates, and then doing the templates. So it's funny because I can't even remember the guy's name. Right when I got on the SynkedUP, there was another pool company that was using it, and I talked to him about templates because he was like, "Man, I have a template built for every single pool we have. I have templates built." And I'm like, "Why do you do that?" And I think I was talking to Chris or Kyle, and they showed me in about 3 minutes, and I'm like, this is going to save.
It's a game changer.
I mean, this is ridiculous how much time it saves.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was great. I mean, we've got so many templates now.
Template library, man.
Yeah, and we're to the point now, literally, I'm looking for a salesperson or a development person.
Yep.
And I can pass this along now. This is
that's
all built.
He hit the nail on the head. When you have templates and production rates, you unlock yourself from being the only person that can quote a job.
Yep.
Now, anyone that can run a tape measure and plug in measurements can quote a job. That's the power of templates.
Oh yeah, and that's huge in so many ways because obviously I'm trying to take off hats.
Yes.
I'm already wearing 10 hats. If I can take off 2 this year or 3 next year and buying back more time.
Yes.
I'm giving more opportunity. I mean, that's our scale and growth is just going to keep on going.
There's something I want to say about your scale and growth thing. As a business owner, you should view yourself not as a doer of work, but as a builder of systems and processes that do the work.
Yep.
If you're the only one that can do it, that's a vulnerability. I don't want people to take this out of context because sometimes people are saying, well, I only want to be myself and 2 or 3 people. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're financially setting your business up for success, because in that scenario, your business is not an asset. It's a job. You own a job. Yep. And so that business job has to crank cash so that when you're done working for your life, for your career, you not only paid yourself a good living wage all those years, but also build assets in addition to that for the long haul, the retirement.
True. Yeah.
So it's not like there's any one right or only way of doing it. It's just that when you intentionally choose your path and then optimize the rest of your business around that.
Once again, the financial piece aspect of it has given me the confidence to know we can grow, we can scale, we can hire these people now because we look at our P&L twice a week, we look at our balance sheet twice a week, we're job costing all the time. I mean, just and that stuff happens like this now.
That's awesome.
Once your QuickBooks is set up and your SynkedUP set up or your ops software is set up, everything should be instantaneous.
Oh yeah,
it should be that quick.
Yes.
To produce reports, and having that confidence once again gives you that financial piece to be able to grow the business and do the things you want to do.
Before SynkedUP versus after SynkedUP, did SynkedUp make your estimating process 10%, 50%, 75% faster?
80%. I mean, it was the software we're using before. Was so cumbersome. I mean, it took me, we were using it for 10 years, and we were maybe utilizing 60% of it. And every winter, I would literally sit in my basement for 2 months and just sit there and just try to learn, do the tutorials, and it was just so cumbersome. It was not very user-friendly.
And how was onboarding into SynkedUP?
It was great. I got some good friends now too. I mean, I talk to you all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
I can just call the guys and say what's up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I love. And plus, it's fun for us to see the transformations take place. I mean, that is the reward for us, is like to see those transformations, see that sparkle in your eye.
Yep.
That's money.
It's key.
Last question. If you could go back to day one when you started your own journey and being in business, what is one thing you would do differently?
Operational software and a good accounting software. I mean,
Getting that set up.
if you get that stuff set up and understand how to use it and run it from the beginning, you will eliminate the amount of just beating your head against the wall, thinking that you're making money and you're really not. I just remember when we first started using SynkedUP and we had all of our budgets built and everything in there, and I'm sitting here looking at the number and going, there's no way I could sell projects at this. I had a conversation with you and you're like, well, there's no way you can afford to sell projects because you're not making money. There are so many guys and girls out there that are just working to work and they don't know if they're making money. So if you can get those software or get those systems, your accounting and your ops software in place from the beginning, you're going to shave 10 years off of your growth. Yes. I mean, it's so ridiculous how much we just, like I said, this industry, we just work to work, and we got to do better than that.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You will shave years off of your growth journey by getting that stuff straight. Like getting to the point where your books, your numbers tell you a story and you trust that story and you can use that data to make a better decision tomorrow.
Yep.
That is key.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And then I would say the follow-up with that, the next biggest thing is a peer group. Get in a peer group.
Yes. Get a mentor.
Yes.
Something where you can be like, fly off the handle when you're having a stressful day, like, this is never going to work. Get somebody to, whatever, to bounce ideas off of. Have you ever read the book or listened to it, Buy Back Your Time? In that book, he talks about the ceiling, the founder's ceiling, right? As the owner, you literally define the ceiling of your business. Yep. And life is full of battles. Make sure you're fighting the right battle. Like, don't kid yourself with fighting the battle that will get you nowhere.
It breaks my heart to see the amount of people that are just killing themselves in this industry because they have the love and the passion, but they're not running a successful business in the means of financially securing a future for themselves. And we work too hard to not have something at the end of the day.
That's right. And remember, you don't rob from yourself, you rob from the people around you.
Yeah.
Alex, this is a great conversation.
Yeah, man, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Where can people find you? Where can they follow you, see your work, that kind of thing?
Derby City Pools. We've got our Instagram. We've got our Facebook. We've got YouTube channel. We're all over the internet. So
this is Derby City Pools.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's go have fun for the rest of the day.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, you betcha.
Have a good one.